Okay, let's tackle a big misconception. When you think WWI, you probably picture France, Belgium, those European trenches. But the sources make it clear. This was truly a world war, not just European. Fighting happened in Africa, across the Middle East, in parts of Asia, even the Pacific Islands. That really broadens the picture.
It absolutely does. And it's so important to remember that global dimension, which often gets downplayed. Millions of soldiers came from colonies, India, parts of Africa, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, even China sent labor corps.
Wow, millions.
Millions. Many fought and died far from home, often without the recognition they deserved back then or even now in some histories. Their involvement really underlines that this was the first truly global conflict. And it had huge long-term consequences, changing colonial relationships, planting seeds for independence movements later on. It shows how interconnected the world already was over a century ago.
And the human cost wasn't just physical. Let's talk about shell shock. During the war, thousands of soldiers started showing these really disturbing symptoms. Uncontrollable tremors, nightmares, breakdowns. Doctors at the time were often baffled. Sometimes they dismissed it as cowardice, right?
Yeah.
It must have been awful for the soldiers.
It was terrible, but the sheer number of cases forced the medical world to confront it. What they called shell shock then, we now understand as PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder.
Right.
It's a severe mental health condition triggered by trauma. The war, with its constant bombardment and horror, was a massive trigger. While the initial understanding was poor and the treatment often harsh, WWI essentially forced doctors and psychologists to take the mental impact of combat seriously for the first time on such a scale. It was a dark beginning, but it led, eventually, to much better understanding and care for trauma survivors, both military and civilian, a tragic catalyst for progress in mental health.
The war was also just full of extremes. The sources point this out really clearly. You had the shortest battle, the Battle of Mons, apparently lasted just a few hours early in the war.
A brief, sharp shock.
Exactly. And then you contrast that with the longest trench battle, Verdun. 10 months. 10 months of grinding, brutal fighting, over 700,000 casualties, just unimaginable hell. How could one war contain such completely different realities?
It's sobering, isn't it? Mons was early, chaotic. Verdun became this symbol of pointless, attritional warfare, a meat grinder. It highlights that World War I wasn't one single experience. Every front, every battle, even different sectors of the same trench line had its own pace, its own horrors, its own kind of endurance test. It reminds you that behind the grand narrative, war is millions of individual struggles, varying wildly in their intensity and duration.